All right, welcome back to the show on this beautiful Friday morning in Flagstaff. We're here until 9 o'clock. Jeff, Monica, and Dave with you. And we are joined this morning by Agustina Vergara. She is a Master of Law graduate from the University of Southern California, from USC. Associate Fellow at, is it Anne or Ayn Rand Institute, Agustina?
Ayn Rand Institute.
Okay, and also Young Voices contributor. Her recent op-ed, Deport the Criminals and Keep the Workers. And we appreciate your time this morning, Augustina. Thank you so much for joining us. So let me start here. What inspired you to write this op-ed, and why do you believe this issue is particularly urgent now?
Thanks, first of all, for having me, Jeff. So what inspired me to write this op-ed is I am a legal immigrant to the United States, and I have witnessed and experienced firsthand what it's like to try to immigrate legally to the United States, to come here to build a life peacefully, to work and be productive. And it's very hard to do legally. And I think I was fortunate enough to be able to come here legally, but there are a lot of people that don't have that possibility, but that have just as good intentions as I did. To come here to America, the best, freest country in the world, to work, to produce, to try to build a life in freedom, which is a freedom that is unique to America. No other country can afford the freedom that we have here. And so I know that there's all this talk, President Trump wants to enact these mass deportations. And I completely agree with the fact that the criminals should be deported. And President Trump has made it very clear that it's his first priority to deport the criminals that are here in the United States that are illegal immigrants. Completely agree with that. But the issue comes when President Trump and his team say that after that, they're going to deport every single illegal immigrant that's here. And part of what I want to do with this article is highlight the fact that a lot of these people that are here illegally right now, most of them come here to work and build a life. And yes, they broke the law, and we can discuss what we can do about that. But I think that instead of being punished by deportation, which is, we can discuss what it means to be deported from America, they should, I think, be given a chance to rectify their situation and, become legal, essentially.
We're talking with Agustina Vergara. She's a Master of Law graduate from USC and Young Voices contributor. Her op-ed is Deport the Criminals, Keep the Workers. Now, I want to get into maybe a philosophical question for you, if you don't mind, because I know your perspective draws from Ayn Rand's philosophy of individualism. So how does that philosophy inform your view on immigration?
It informs it because Ayn Rand believed, like you said, first and foremost in the individual, right? In the individual, in each individual's moral right to pursue their happiness, and that means pursue their happiness without obviously violating the rights of others, pursuing one's rationally chosen values, right? Yeah. So Ayn Rand inspired me because, well, her story itself, she's an immigrant from Soviet Russia. Her story itself is very, it's an immigrant story through and through. But also I believe that, I agree with Rand's position that government should have a very limited role, and that role is protecting the rights of individuals. Anything else that the government wants to do has to have a really good justification. If the government is going to stop someone from moving from one place to the other, including moving countries, it has to have a really good reason to do so. And what happens with the immigration laws in America right now is that some laws stop people that should be rightly stopped, like actual criminals, terrorists, people that threaten America's national security. But it also stops people that are coming here to pursue their happiness, to work, to produce, to try to live in America in freedom. And I don't think that is a reason to stop someone. And it frankly violates the rights of people, but also violates the rights of Americans, because the system that we have right now, first and foremost, penalizes work. Mm-hmm. Right? So the main reason that people are kept out in America is because this immigration system does not want people to work. And I think that in America, the fact that millions of people are penalized for trying to work and build a life, instead of being celebrated for wanting to produce, to create value, I think that is very much antagonistic to American values. Right? But that's what our immigration system does for the vast majority of people. So, it does celebrate, Yes, go ahead.
No, I want to jump in there because I want, if you would, how do you compare the immigration policies of former President, the late Ronald Reagan, to those of President Trump, and why do you believe that his example is relevant today? And I'm talking about President Reagan's example is relevant today.
Yeah, so President Reagan in 1986 passed a law. Well, he didn't pass it, Congress did, but he contributed to it. So he passed a law which was an immigration reform essentially, and part of what that included was a legalization process for illegal immigrants at the time. So essentially, President Reagan said, "Well, did you come here? If you're here illegally in the United States, and you came here before, I think it was 84, 82, I'm blanking out right now. But if you have been here for years and you can prove to the government that you have been working, that you're peaceful, that you're trying to build a life here in freedom in America, then you can go through a process that will legalize your situation." And so what happened at that point was that during that legalization process, nearly 3 million illegal immigrants became legal at that point. Many of them, all of them became at some point legal residents. So essentially they were given like what is called a green card. And also some of them then chose to become American citizens. And this was a bipartisan effort at that point. And it was a law that also cracked down on immigration on other aspects. For instance, it penalized American employers for wanting to hire illegal immigrants, which is something we can discuss. I don't agree with that. But what's really good about it is that he did legalize 3 million people that were here illegally. And so I think there is absolutely no reason why we cannot do that right now, right? Like legalize all these people, unleash their power to produce, to be able to get a job that is above board, to open bank accounts, to really, really produce to the best of their capacities and pursue their happiness. And I think that will get us everywhere, I think, to a better place. I personally want more people to, I want more Americans that say no, not fewer Americans. And I think that's a win for everybody.
Augustina, I'm right with you pretty much 100% along the way. And what I don't understand about the pushback from getting, well, not pushback, but the idea of getting everybody out is people that are here, especially from Mexico and Central America, who are working in the fields, who are doing those hard labor jobs, are vital to a lot of the economy. And so why do you want to kick those people out? And then everyone's complaining about their grocery bill being high. Well, guess what? If you can't find people to do those jobs, those items are going to be astronomical as far as grocery prices go. So, but I'm along with you 100%. Is that I think people who have been here, especially if they're working to get their permanent status or want to be a citizen of the United States, and they're just waiting to go through the process, the 7-year wait, 8-year wait. Why can't we make that happen to where they stay here instead of kicking them out? I mean, I don't follow the counter attack from the other side on this.
Yeah, so this happened like somewhat recently, right? In '86, it wasn't that long ago. Mm-hmm. And so there's literally no reason why it couldn't happen right now other than lack of political will. But what people are sometimes concerned about with the pushback is they say, well, they came here illegally. They broke the law, so they deserve to be sent back home. And to that I said, there's always like this, alleged concern with breaking the law and how important the law is. And I agree, breaking the law generally is a bad thing, right? But people should ask themselves first and foremost, I think, whether the law is legitimate and an appropriate law or not. Because not every law that is in the books is a good law. And not because it is a law, it means that it's actually moral. So we should know that already with the history of certain laws in our country, right?
Yeah.
So,
and I actually want you to touch on that because I think in your op-ed you described the legalization of of immigrants as a moral imperative. So how does this frame the policy debate?
So I think it's a moral imperative because I think the law itself is immoral, the law that keeps peaceful, hardworking people out. And I want to emphasize not just anybody, criminals peaceful, hardworking people that want to, take part in America and come here to pursue their happiness and create value, right? So I think government has no right to stop them. importantly, government has no right to stop Americans from associating with them, because right now, if you're an American, you want to hire a foreigner, an immigrant, it's extremely hard to do legally, right? It's extremely hard. It's extremely expensive. Only a very tiny number of people are allowed to come to work here legally, and they are usually people that are called, quote, high-skilled immigrants. Mm-hmm. So people that have degrees and a lot of work experience of whatever the government, unilaterally decides what, quote, skilled means. So, and even if you want to, marry a foreigner and live with a foreigner in your own home, that you need a permission from the government to do that. So, and there's many ways in which the government restricts the rights of Americans when it restricts the rights of immigrants, right?
Yeah.
But importantly, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't mean to cut you off. We've only got a couple minutes left here, yes, Augustina, but I did want to ask you about the role of cultural assimilation or integration in your vision for immigration reform.
Yeah, so I think that, the data shows that immigrants are assimilating very, very well to whatever country they come from. And the second generation immigrants, so the children of immigrants, are basically, essentially completely American. I think that people come here, yes, first generation immigrants, the ones that actually get here, they bring some of their culture, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? Like, there's so many things about foreign cultures that are really good, and that's part of what we see all over our country, that diversity, the cultural diversity. But what's important is that immigrants are assimilating American values, and it's not like they want to come here and turn it into the countries they came from. They want to come here and preserve American freedom because that's what attracted them. And many immigrants today, with the internet and everything, they come essentially pre-assimilated to America. So they already share all these values. They already are aware of what the culture is like here. They just want to actually move here to be able to pursue their happiness and the freedom that they know that is available here in America. So I don't think, to me, assimilation is not a big concern, because of all the reasons I said, but also the data show that immigrants are assimilating totally fine.
Very good. Hey, Augustina, really a pleasure talking to you this morning. We're going to reach out to you again. Folks, friends of the program, if you haven't checked it out, she is a Young Voices contributor. She explores this topic in her recent op-ed, Deport the Criminals, Keep the Workers. Go ahead and Google it. You can check it out. Augustina, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, Jeff.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. All right, you two, your thoughts.
Good stuff. I agree with her almost, at least 99%. And there's not one thing I heard that, I disagree with. This is what's supposed to happen. What people are here illegally are murderers or drug dealers, weapons, people. Yeah, if they're in this country and they got a background on that, kick them out. Mm-hmm. I think everybody, I would hope the majority would be for that. But why are we kicking everybody out when they fought so hard to be here and they're contributing to the economy? They're contributing to a lot of them are paying taxes. I mean, it's in the millions and millions of dollars that illegal immigrants are paying into the coffers. So
not without a social security number, though.
There's ones that you have to have some kind of the work permit, work visa that goes into that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
But they're here. Well, they're maybe here illegally, but are doing it legally as they're here. Is basically. Pretty much.
So I don't know. I agree with most of what she's saying as well. However, I don't know that it should just be willy-nilly that we just allow the good ones to stick around, because they're still breaking the law. Yeah. And I understand it's a really difficult process. It takes almost a decade to get it done. I understand that.
They may have applied for asylum, but they're still waiting to hear back.
Like she said, we got to find something to do.
Got to find a balance.
But maybe not just say goodbye. Not
we as a country got to do immigration reform a lot better than what we're doing, and hopefully that's on the horizon.
Absolutely. All right, we're through one. When we come back, Carrie Lake sparks concern over at Voice of America. Dave, I bet you're chomping at the bit on that one. This is KAFF News Radio 93.5 and AM 930 News Sports
Community.